Welcome. Now, you've heard he was talking tough there, wasn't he?
Just as David Cameron talked tough. If you come here illegally, you won't be allowed to stay. Theresa May, if you come here illegally, you won't be allowed to stay. Boris Johnson, if you come here illegally, you won't be allowed to stay. And just over 2 years ago, of course, we had the speech at Lydd Airport down in Kent, telling us about the Rwanda plan. We're 2 years on. We've spent at least £160 million so far, not sent a single human being. And what happens is, every time Rishi Sunak speaks on this subject, he raises the rhetoric. He raises the rhetoric, and he does so, of course, because public anger is so great, the sense of injustice and unfairness. Do I believe that in 10 to 12 weeks' time there'll be planes taking off with significant numbers of migrants on board? No, I don't. And I tell you why.
He gave specifics there, Nigel, didn't he? He said there's an airfield at the ready. He said they've got trained people to stop air crews stopping people.
We've done our prep, is what he said. I mean, how boring. We're working hard. I should jolly well hope they're working hard. They're the government. I mean, all of that. Nobody gives a damn about any of that. What people care about is, are the numbers crossing the channel going to stop? He made no acknowledgement in his speech of the fact that numbers are up 25% so far this year.
Well, he said they'd cut them.
He said we'll defy the European Court of Human Rights. Well, I very much doubt that he will. But even if he did, there's something missing here. It's called the Human Rights Act, 1998. That was the legislation that took the ECHR and put it into British law. Yeah. And all the while it's there will be legal cases taken, and British judges will find in favour of the legislation. I promise you, not a single person is going to Rwanda. This is a complete charade. And the tougher he talks, and the more he raises the rhetoric, the more public disappointment there'll be.
Is he lying to the British people?
He's lying to himself.
OK.
Well, there's elections coming up too.
He's lying to himself, you know, and he's talking tough. Look, I'll tell you a funny thing. Whether it's the sick note culture, whether it's the number of people claiming they've got depression and not even having to look for work and getting an extra 400 quid a month, it's all well and good, but I genuinely believe the public now don't believe any of this. We've heard this again and again and again. No one's listening.
Tell us, before we talk to you about debanking, which is a very important story today, succinctly, Nigel, what you would do to turn these boats around.
All the while you have a European Court of Human Rights and its code taken into British law through the Human Rights Act, you will never, ever, ever deal with this problem, all right? So you have to repeal the Human Rights Act. And you probably have to say to yourself, do you know what? We don't need European-style human rights. We've been since Magna Carta, the freest country in the world. Yeah. And we should be rather proud of the fact that we as a country have always given the individual much greater protection against an overbearing state. So until you deal with that, you'll never solve this. Once you've dealt with that, it starts to become quite easy. You do what Tony Abbott did in Australia. You say, right, nobody that comes via this route will ever be granted refugee status. Good start. And then you literally start sending people back. And of course, Brussels will scream and the United Nations will scream. And you know what? Within a fortnight, no one will come.